Welcome to the Filmcast review of Disclosure Day. I'm going to read the plot summary of this movie from the internet. A meteorologist and a cybersecurity expert find themselves at the center of a movement to expose the government's cover-up of extraterrestrial secrets, end quote. Obviously, we all think Steven Spielberg is one of the greatest filmmakers of all time. In this film, Disclosure Day, he returns to one of the thematic elements that helped to propel him to superstardom in the director world, which is aliens. Are they real? What would their impact on society be?
Yep.
This seems to be an obsession with his from E.T., War of the Worlds, Kingdom of Crystal Skull. So the question is, does he have anything new to add here in Disclosure Day? Overall, Devindra, what did you think of the film?
I would say this is a film made for the me that existed in the 90s. How about that? Because the 90s era was big on, hey, that was the X-Files era. That was the decade of the X-Files. I was a kid fully in on this. Like I was reading all the books. I was reading about Project Blue Book and everything. And, I was reading Walter Chaw's review, which is mostly favorable to it, but he compared this to Francis Ford Coppola's Megalopolis. And you know what? It's a little bit like that. It is sort of like this guy who is a master of the form, getting on in years, kind of putting down the stone, being like, here's how it is, folks. Like, this is how things could be. It's just kind of interesting. I think this is like, it is an interesting exploration of what Steven Spielberg thinks it would be like if we revealed the existence of aliens. And there's some great philosophical discussions in here of like what it could mean as an impact on society and on religion. But I think like where it ultimately goes, we'll have to talk about the spoilers. It feels, like I said earlier, very boomery in the sense that this movie hinges on the idea of Disclosure Day, of disclosing the existence of aliens. And I'm going to tell you, there's a lot of things that have been released out in the world, facts as they were, that have had very little impact on our society and has done little to like really, I don't know, make things better. So I've got complicated feelings around this movie. I will say though, the part of this movie that is not the sort of like philosophical treatise, where he's just Spielberg being Spielberg, setting up some banger set pieces, like that dude has still got it. There's a scene between a car and a train that's a lot of fun. There's just like a shot I think about a lot, about a car crashing into a house. The way it's framed, the way it looks, it's just kind of jarring. Like I've not seen that before. So it's really fun to see Spielberg in this mode. I think like narratively, this film has a really interesting structure because it basically starts you in act 3 of a story, which is kind of cool. I've got questions about the very first shot of this movie, which is a POV shot of a wrestler getting stomped in the ring. I feel like he is a master of the form, right? Like this guy knows where to put the camera, how to produce a shot, how to stage a scene. Having that be the very first image of your movie, I don't know what am I reading into here. It is
kind
of drawing to me.
I was wondering if they're going to come back to that somehow.
Yeah, did I step into the wrong movie or something? I feel like that is the very first shot of your movie is a holy thing. And what impact are you going to make on the audience? And it's a wrestler stomping down on the camera. I just found that kind of funny. Yeah. But overall, like I found it to be a good time. Spielberg like doing set pieces is a lot of fun to me. I wish we lived in a world where the ideas he's bringing up here could lead to some major, perhaps societal awakening or societal like good, but also I live in the year 2026.
Yeah.
And society keeps disappointing me. So,
I do think that the movie is extremely boomer coded. What Devindra was alluding to is that the movie is about Disclosure Day, but the manner in which the movie envisions the disclosure occurring is a very, very old school and, in my opinion, quaint and naive way of thinking of how disclosure might occur.
And don't forget, like we sort of did have like a mini Disclosure Day. Like there's a lot of stuff that got
there have been government hearings on UAPs, as they're called now.
There's been video footage.
Footage has been out in the world about UAPs.
That inspired this movie. Like the release in 2017 of like some footage of like Air Force footage. Like what the hell is going on here? And credible people kept coming up and saying like something is weird. but
Right.
we
And
quickly
the
move
movie
past that.
imagines
Yeah.
disclosure as a cataclysmic world-altering event.
Right.
But let's just say we have seen versions of disclosure in reality that have not played out that way. So it's kind of hard to take seriously in that manner. All that said, agreed with you on the set pieces. Jeff Kanata, I want to hear what you had to say about Disclosure Day.
Well, Dave, I guess you could say what I had to say about Disclosure Day is best summed up in the form of a limerick.
Let's hear it, Jeff.
Your view on this film is depending on whether you vibe with the ending. The movie's so thrilling, it's one that I'm willing to spend a full segment defending.
Okay. Here we go, Jeff.
Here we go.
Do it.
I am a huge fan of the San Francisco 49ers. When I was growing up, one of my favorite players is a quarterback by the name of Steve Young. Steve Young was a scrambling quarterback. He often did these thrilling runs. And one of the most famous highlights, Steve Young highlights to this day, it's still one of those, greatest moments in NFL history, is he is knocked out of the pocket. He's bumping into people. He's scrambling. He's running. He's dodging people. He's doing this spectacular, 40-yard scramble. And he's been knocked into people, literally bouncing off of linebackers that are twice his size, spinning, dodging, running. And then he gets in the clear 10 yards from the end zone, no one around him. And he stumbles and falls into the end zone. No one touched him. He just falls. And I remember the announcer, the local San Francisco announcer, just one of the greatest announcers of all time, say he dives into the end zone. He didn't dive. He fell. But he still scored, and it's still one of the greatest.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
That's where you're going with this. Okay.
I think this movie stumbles at the end.
Mm-hmm.
And it's still a friggin' amazing movie.
Yeah, I still mostly liked it. Yeah.
Loved this movie. I was sitting there through 2 hours of this movie. It's 2 hours 20, I think. 2 hours plus of this movie. I'm going, this might be in my top 5 Spielbergs ever.
Wow.
Might be. It's certainly going to be in the top 10 Spielbergs. And then we get to the end. And I also recall when Saving Private Ryan came out, people hating the ending, hating the very, very end, the coda of that movie, the overly sentimental coda of that movie, and thinking it ruined everything that came before it. Spielberg has a proclivity for this. He is drawn to that sentimentality that I think people find off-putting. And I think
he almost can't help himself sometimes. Yeah.
It certainly seems that way. And this movie falls prey to that sentimentality, that overly idealistic, and you guys can call it a boomer mentality, whatever it is. It is one that I can relate to because I am also a Pollyanna oftentimes. And I think it's a shame that the biggest criticism I can level at this movie is that the world is too cynical for this movie. Like the world itself, we have lived through such cynical times that a movie that is not cynical feels discordant, which is exactly how this movie lands at the end. It is so, it rejects cynicism so much that it feels unrealistic. And as you say, David, quaint. I can't be mad at that. Did I feel it at the end? Did I feel like, well, this isn't probably how it would play out? Did I feel that literally everything that's wrong with this movie is in the title? Like, why do we need to call it Disclosure Day? We're working up toward
there's so many better names. Yeah.
So many. The name is bad on the face of it. And also the fact that there's a question as to whether there's going to be a Disclosure Day that's answered in the title of the movie already is a fault, And
right, because it would be pretty lame to call your movie Disclosure Day and not have a disclosure in the movie.
That's exactly right. But the whole central question of the movie is: are we going to be able to pull off this Disclosure
Day? And yeah.
But so like, I recognize those flaws, But my God, every moment of this movie up to that point, up to the ending, the very ending, is so thrilling. This is one of those movies where I forgot to breathe for
Yeah.
long stretches.
Yeah.
It is, I am on the edge of my seat. There are these incredibly taut, suspenseful sequences that just go and go and go. And you have incredible performances. I mean, Emily Blunt in this movie is like tour de force performance, in my opinion.
Mhm.
She's asked to do some really technically difficult things. There are moments where just her expression changing is what communicates everything. Like she'll look at someone and then her expression will kind of shift slightly. And that's like this key plot point. That's not easy to do. And she does it with such aplomb. It's a great performance by her. It's a great performance by, I mean, I love Josh O'Connor. It's a great performance by Colin Firth, who's doing some cool stuff in this movie. Wyatt Russell's hilarious. Coleman Domingo is awesome in this movie. The cast is
Houston
great.
is good. Like Bono's daughter is kind of great in this movie. I
Yes,
think. Yeah.
dude. And as you said, Devindra, the set pieces are on par with anything you want to put up against them, in my opinion. Anything in Minority Report, anything in Jurassic Park, like this, the sequence you referenced with the car and the train, dude. The fact that it's in conversation with the history of cinema, where we've had a million scenes where the car and the train is coming, and the car and the train is coming. What about the fact that the train has already come? Never seen that before. So rad, so cool, and then where it goes is so awesome. There are such cool sci-fi concepts, such cool communication of that. As you say, Devindra, we're dropped into what feels like the third act of a movie. We're dropped in, like, hit the ground running in media res.
They don't explain much to you either. Like you got to pick up, you got to pay attention. That's cool.
Love it. It feels like a novel. It feels like I'm shot out of a cannon and we're going. And the pace of the movie is awesome. I care about all these people. There's comic relief that really works for me. There's, different dynamics. We're popping between different groups of people, and all of them are interesting. I'm excited about it. I love this movie. And it's just a bummer that 10 yards before the end zone, it stumbles, but it still scores a touchdown. Just like Steve Young did. He still got in. It scored a touchdown for me. I understand. It bummed me out because I was in a screening with all press, and the two guys next to me were laughing at the end. And I went, that's what's going to hinder this movie from being in the echelon, because these guys, it was so uncomfortable for them to see sort of heart on your sleeve earnestness. And this is what Spielberg is drawn to, is earnestness. And in our cynical, fucked up culture, earnestness feels false. And I understand it, but it breaks my heart.
Yeah. I guess I'll tell you, Jeff, though, by the way, it's not just the ending that hurts it for me. I think like it's leading up to the ending. It's kind of what they're doing, but we can talk about that in spoilers.
Yeah. Jeff, I love the earnestness of your review. And I had a feeling, there's certain lines in this movie, particularly that are said by Coleman Domingo, that I thought were very Jeff coded. I'm like, oh, that's really going to resonate with Jeff.
And Coleman Domingo's on point here.
Yeah, he's great. But
so good.
But Jeff, I think my request is certainly there will be some people that will not like this movie because of earnestness, but I think that I would not dismiss people's critiques as solely being because they cannot accept the earnestness.
I don't think we live in a cynical culture. It's that the reality of our world is deeply fucked up. I just talked about the world's first trillionaire being somebody who is responsible for race riots. Also, you could talk about what he's done around USAID. Like, he is going to be directly responsible for millions of deaths of people, but he is heralded as the leader, like as the, most successful capitalist in our world. Like, we live in a world where we have seen what happened in the White House this weekend. It's not just culturally cynical. It's like, these idiots have a UFC tournament on the front of the White House. It's a screenshot from Idiocracy, and that's what we live in. So what this movie is trying, if we lived in the 90s, in the little, when we were a little more like, things were not as insane, I'd say I'd be like, oh, this is the Ozymandias idea. This is like, oh, you give humanity a greater force, and we'll come together, and we'll have reckoning, and we'll be less stupid with each other. Except we also just lived through the pandemic, which was the greater force that was supposed to unite us a little bit, and it ended up being very stupid and very dividing for a lot of people. So yeah, I love earnestness, Jeff, but it also has to be, I think, if you're making a grand statement about humanity and how a major revelation will affect humanity, unfortunately, like, I want to believe in humanity, but the world itself right now has let me down quite a bit.
That's all fairly said, Devindra, and I'm making a different point than that, which is
Sure.
that I don't think the critiques necessarily are solely because of the earnestness of the film. But let me just share some of my brief thoughts. I think in my opinion, this is Spielberg basically at the top of his game. There are sequences and shots in this movie that are incredible. Just like, he is one of the best directors at blocking and knowing how to move the camera in a way that where characters occupy in the frame somehow represents what that scene is trying to communicate in a way that very few other directors are able to achieve.
He's almost showing off in this movie. There's sequences where it's like, wow. Like early on, there's a shot where he like takes the camera through a car door window that's dappled with rain, and it just like lingers behind that. I'm like, you're just showing off, man. It's so awesome.
There are a ton of shots that I'm just that blew me away. Particularly, there was a scene with Josh O'Connor and a fence.
And the fence,
and it's following along the fence, and goes around the fence, and all this stuff. It's just like amazing stuff going on in this film.
Yep.
Yeah, there's another tracking shot through the, like, you know, cool guy secret society tech room where we Colin Firth walks in and the camera follows him, and he walks past a table and the camera goes through the table, and it's like, okay, that is extremely an extremely simple moment that you made very difficult to shoot because you just wanted to defy the laws of physics for a second. It's just awesome.
Yeah.
Sorry. Go ahead, David. I'm sorry to interrupt you.
No worries. So I think Spielberg is great when it comes to direction. I think, in my opinion, the failures of this film, and they are considerable, are 100% due to the script. Now, this is a story by Spielberg, and he gets a story by credit with a script by David Koepp.
Which is rare for him to even have like a, I don't know, like a story role in a thing.
And not only that, but Spielberg is in he is heavily featured in the trailers for this film. Jeff, I know you don't watch the trailers, but literally one of the trailers is an interview with Steven Spielberg, where he talks about how, man, wouldn't it be great if aliens were real? Like, wouldn't it be great if aliens... And I do believe that if aliens were real, it would be this massive unifying moment for all of humanity. Like, that's basically what he's saying in this trailer. And that point of view is reflected in the movie itself.
Not just the ending, but
not just the ending. The entire film has that kind of air to it, in my opinion. And obviously I have some issues with that. But in many ways, that actually is kind of a very bleak and cynical point of view, but I'm not going to get to it until we get to spoilers. The other thing I would say is that this movie has no new ideas about aliens. Like, I would say that when I watched Arrival, that was a mind-blowing movie where I'm like, oh, wow, like, spoilers for Arrival. But the idea of, oh, wow, like, understanding a language makes you perceive time differently. You know, like, I was like, holy crap, that's what a mind-blowing idea. And that makes sense. It makes intuitive sense that would be the case. Like that was, and that was not the only thing that was introduced. That was not the only concept introduced in Arrival. But this movie does not have anything new to say. In fact, David Koepp is on record as saying, I think he did an interview. I think it was either Spielberg or David Koepp did an interview with Chris Evangelista from /film.com, where he basically said, that was not our intention to introduce any new ideas about aliens.
This is classic, like 90s, the
right.
Greys.
This is,
everything.
we wanted to take like all the iconography and ideas that people already understood about aliens, and what if we like created like a grand unifying plot that like tied it all together. And I will just say that I found that plot to be pretty unsatisfying. Like, I did not think that it when you're going to use stuff that people have already quote unquote seen time and time again, you need to do so in such a way that is revelatory for this to really work as a plot. And in my opinion, the film did not rise to that level. So
they do new things when it comes to like how we use alien tech, and I don't know how much we want to say here, but
I don't think so. But
that is a whole cool.
I don't agree with you at all.
That's very cool.
I don't agree
with how they set it up.
I think you're just factually incorrect, Dave. But I know it's an opinion you hold strongly, but I mean, this movie is like literally the sentence you said is, if you're going to use stuff we've seen before, you got to do it in a interesting way. And I think the structure of this movie, the way information is unveiled, the like, I think it is an interesting way. I think it is a completely wild ride through the information dispersal in the movie. And I know it's impossible to imagine, but if you could imagine sitting down for this movie not knowing it was about aliens, it's the idea that it is even aliens isn't even revealed for 45 minutes.
I also wonder, for people who culturally were not around the like alien stuff of the 90s and 80s and everything, like for a young generation going into this, like this is all new information for like a teen or 20 something audience, probably, if they were not watching the X-Files or something. So
that's kind of interesting to contemplate, Devindra. But Jeff, back to your point, and I think we should just get to spoilers momentarily, but like I think what you think is a feature, I think is a bug. Like a lot of people went into this movie thinking it would be about aliens. It's basically not about aliens at all. Like, and
it's not about aliens at all.
It is mostly a spy thriller. It is mostly a cat and mouse spy thriller of people
is
trying to
a
go
lot
back
of
and
the
forth.
X-Files.
Like it is like 80% about that, and then the alien stuff is, in my opinion, pretty undercooked.
I mean,
wow.
I also say, like, if anybody deserves to rehash and reuse the like legacy of gray alien like mythology, it's freaking Steven Spielberg, right?
That's
like the
fair.
guy
That's fair.
who also, even before he was making movies, made like, I think like an indie film that was like about UFOs invading. Like he did Close Encounters, he did ET. Close Encounters became the sort of like, oh, our cultural understanding of like, oh, if the aliens came, we try to communicate with them in some way. Like he has shaped how this stuff has been viewed. I'll talk about this a bit later, but he initially wanted to do like a horror film called Night Skies, and that project eventually became E.T. the Extraterrestrial. We'll talk about this in the After Dark, and a lot of that went into Signs, right? So, Signs, the way that's portrayed seems very similar to the idea of Night Skies. So I agree with you, Dave. Like a lot of this is a rehash, but also the man deserves, like, at least I give him this. I give him the ability.
Did I say Steven Spielberg has no right to use these iconography?
Well, you said it's nothing new.
Yeah, I'm saying like, I don't think
there's no value to that. And I think sometimes even the people who helped shape this, and he's like tying a bow on this narrative thread that he's been kind of doing throughout his career, like you've been saying.
I mean, that's fair enough. I think we should get to spoilers. Let's stop talking around stuff. So spoilers for Disclosure Day starting right now. Right off the bat, I want to say this. Something I want to talk about something I really liked about the film, which is, Jeff, I echo your feelings on Emily Blunt's performance in this. Like, I think it is Oscar-worthy performance. It is really incredible. And the thing that I appreciate the most is the Christ parallels in Emily Blunt's story. Emily Blunt's arc in this movie is, and by the way, I understand that Steven Spielberg is Jewish, but I do think there's
a lot of religious imagery.
There's literally Christ illusions in this movie.
There's stigmata in this movie.
Yeah. Yes. Right. Yeah. So it's like Emily Blunt's character arc is has a lot of Christ parallels, particularly the idea of during the course of the movie, she starts receiving these powers and then comes to understand that she is going to be critical for humanity's next phase, whatever that may be. And there is this verse that's quoted in the movie about Jesus. I think he's at the Garden of Gethsemane, if I'm not mistaken. But the idea is that he says to God, he's praying to God, and he says like, like, please take this cup from me. Like, I don't want to go through this thing that you want me to do. Like, please, I don't want to be a part of this, of your plan
Mhm.
at this moment, because I know what that will entail. And there's a moment towards the end of the film where Emily Blunt has seen the trauma house that Coleman Domingo has built for her. And she's saying, like, I don't want to look in your face. Like, I don't want to look in your face because, like, then I'll know what is happening. And then, like, I don't want to know yet. I don't want to know yet. And that was deeply moving to me, because I think Emily Blunt's character is probably pretty close to what Jesus as a human
Mhm.
might have felt like in learning that he had to
Yeah.
go through whatever the hell he had to
He
go
was an
through.
ancient weatherman. He was, you know,
Except he was a carpenter. She's a weather person. You know, they're both have to do with
working for the people. Right?
trees
Yeah.
and wood. Anyway, so that is one of the things I really, really loved about this movie is Emily Blunt as a Christ parallel, and kind of and just not wanting to be a part of the plan, but then like coming to accept your role in it. I think is really beautifully done.
Mhm.
And one of the reasons why overall, even though I think that the ending of this film and many elements of the film are extremely frustrating, I still like the movie. But
Mhm.
also, there's a lot of people who think this is the dumbest movie they've ever seen, and I have a lot of sympathy with that point of view as well.
I have
because
to. It's hard to like look at this and just call it dumb. Is the thing. I could call it misguided. I could call it maybe a little ignorant of where we
Sure.
are as
Yeah.
a society right now. But dumb is a dismissive word that I think totally ignores like what this movie. There's layers of texture here that's interesting. Eve Hewson's conversations with the nun played by Elizabeth Marvel, I think, are
Who's awesome.
really interesting, and she's awesome in this too. It's all on the nose, it's all very obvious, but I think just even having that conversation is kind of fascinating. And I was
guess
saying this
I don't.
before.
I think that is a very undercooked part of this movie. Like
I mean,
think
for you're somebody who was raised in a religious household, and you've been like hearing this stuff for a while too. So I'm just saying, the fact that this movie is even trying to do that, Dave,
yeah,
I found like a little interesting.
it's notable that most movies
Yeah.
don't even engage on religion at all these days. So I guess that's a good,
And
that's a
for
point in
this
its
one,
favor.
for a specific topic like this, which reshapes our idea of who we are in the universe, like I think it's a very important thing to do. So I found that all like really interesting. But just on a practical, like on a fundamental level, I think everything around the alien tech in this movie is cool. Like if you want to talk about new stuff, when in the opening scene, Colin Firth is like, don't hold that too hard. Like be very careful. I love
So
how
awesome.
they kind of so cool. Like they just like, what is that? We don't know what it is. It takes a while for it. And it ends up being a freaking like Inception-esque object to dive into other people's minds. And it's so cool how it's visualized and they don't have to really explain all of it. It's just shown. That is classic Spielberg to me. That is like the classic, like, what is this new thing we've never seen before? Oh, he can't get into Josh O'Connor's mind. He's an experiencer. What does that mean? I don't know. Let's hear more about this world and this universe. Like they layer these things on. That's really cool. The way he dives into people, I think, is just like a really cool concept. Eve Hewson's performance when she's
Incredible.
going from when she turns like too evil a little bit, just
Oh.
like that look in her eye is just like, oh, she went from being the girlfriend that he's trying to save to like, oh, the horror, the serial killer in a horror movie, just from the glint in her eye. It's
Dude,
kind of amazing.
I could
Yeah.
not agree more, Devindra. It baffles me, Dave, to hear you say, "Oh, this movie doesn't do anything new or interesting," because just that alone,
Mhm.
the notion of we want to get to this guy, we can't because he has some defense against that.
Psychic
We're going to get to
defense.
his
Yeah.
girlfriend, possess her, the sequence where he's saving her, but we, the audience, know that she has the knife and is going to
Yep.
kill him. Like that is Hitchcockian. That is supreme tension storytelling of, we're rooting for this guy to do this. He blasts her out. He's driving the car through the house.
Amazing shot. Yeah.
Incredible. And then, but she's in the back, gonna stab him in the neck. Like, it's layers of danger. It's layers of tension. And it's not something I have ever seen before. Having Colin Firth in the other room, like him like putting his own life in peril. Like he's not some evil mastermind. He's literally like risking his own life to get this information. All that stuff is top tier filmmaking in my opinion.
No disagreement here on literally anything you said. No
But
disagreement.
you said it. Oh, we've never seen anything. There's nothing new. It
That's
has
not-
nothing new to offer.
It's alien stuff. It tied to the alien stuff. So it's just like
in my opinion, when I think of alien stuff, I'm not like, hey, can you come up with a cool new gadget? Yes, okay. It is using this technology in a way that we have not seen before, but like it has nothing new to say about the concept of aliens, is what I'm trying to say.
It's doing, like it is presenting an abduction. Like we see an abduction in this movie, and I think that is the scene that is maybe not handled very well, right? Because we learn that the house that Coleman Domingo's building is her childhood home, and he's trying to like have her re-experience this moment. I don't quite understand Josh O'Connor's character in that moment, right? Because for her, it's like, oh, this was maybe a traumatic event, but it ultimately was not. Like it ultimately ended up being a thing that prepared her for the future. Josh O'Connor's character is like terrified of them, as people used to be. It's like he's like, for me it was communion. Like for you it was like, this angelic information dump. For him it seemed like the experience was communion, where they were just like force feeding him stuff or something. Like I didn't quite understand why he was reacting the way he did in that thing. But again, that's like something we've seen before, but I think portrayed in a way that's different. They come as animals and they lead her out, and it's all to set them up as like basically as ways to guide humanity forward when the aliens choose to reveal themselves. It's hokey, but it's not the same as like the normal alien gray stuff where people are just like experimenting on us for no reason.
Yeah, I mean, the idea of unlocking in him the language of math, the sort of language of the universe, and unlocking in her compassion. I mean, I think people reject this. I called it earnestness, but I think it is you can call it quaint, you can call it whatever it is. This notion that the superpower that will unlock our decency to one another is actually compassion, and
it's
not
empathy. In this movie specifically.
Empathy, compassion, whatever term you want to use. But I was weeping that scene where she walks out walks out among the guards that are there to stop her, and each of them sees what they need to see, and he says, what is she? And he says, she's unstoppable. It's like, well, what is unstoppable about that? It's love. It's not an action sequence, it's not violence, it's not some power dynamic, it's love. And I think in our culture right now, that is something that people just are too cynical to handle. I'm not talking about you guys. I'm not trying to cast aspersions. Maybe I understand you have different problems with the movie, but I think there is a sort of Pollyanna-esque idealism and optimism in this movie that is discordant with our times, and that is of you can call it boomerism, whatever you want. It is of an older time, but it is something I would like to see come back. I would like to. This movie, yes, feels like a Spielberg movie from the 80s, where you would go to the movies and you would watch E.T. and you would feel uplifted. Like, I can't remember a movie like this that is like this. That the central theme of it is, hey, maybe love and compassion and empathy are the key to everything. I can't remember the last time a mainstream movie made that point.
Jeff. I feel like what you're saying here. My thing is like, it really sucks that it requires alien intervention for humans to be less shitty.
Yeah, I want to touch on that point, Devindra. But first, before we do that, Jeff, I kind of want to hear from you. You said, "Hey, this movie scores, but it still is a kind of he falls down at the end, but it still scores." We have to talk about the ending, right? The ending is they are able to broadcast it, and there's a flurry of activity. And I'm curious if the newscaster worked for you. A lot of people are saying they thought the newscaster was awesome, right? Because we hear a newscaster react live to all this footage that they're broadcasting on.
It's a very difficult job.
It's very difficult.
Yeah.
Very difficult.
It felt very true
to sell that moment.
Very difficult. I have to say the best part of that whole sequence, by the way, was Josh O'Connor just like sweatily dumping data over USB drives. Like, this is the most. I was like,
I hope they have USB 3.2 in this situation.
I mean, he's doing all over one bus. Like I saw, it's like
you can have
gigabyte files,
multiple PCI Express lanes here for this.
I don't know how they're managing, but he made it thrilling. It's just like, and the way he's doing it's like throw them in the pile, dump the data.
I have to say they came up with a cool design for the USB drives. Like those things look really cool. Anyway, So then they're like, hey, is it AI? Is it AI? No, go run it through the AI verifier. Oh no, it's not. Okay, good, it's clear. And then and then they bring out old ET, who's like taller and bigger than the ones we see in the video, out, and it's like he's about to say something. We're gonna translate it, and then they don't show what he says, and the movie ends right there. What do you think?
By
You
the
hated
way,
it?
I made a bet to myself that he would do that. I expected a cut to black at some point during a big announcement of this movie.
I do think that
I thought we were going to cut to black way earlier.
Yeah,
In fact, I think the movie would have been stronger if she sits down at the table, they turn the lights on, and she goes, I have something to say, and it cuts away. And we don't see any of the info dump. I think it's stronger to leave that all to the imagination.
Right. But I did like the way that Emily Blunt said "listen" right at the very end. That's a great closing line, and great closing moment. But Jeff, I just want to hear from you. Like, why do you think the movie still scored despite the end? And what did you not like about the ending?
Well, I mean, I think I certainly sympathize with the people that recognize that that's not how that would play out, right? That there would be more.
Which, by the way, is something that would generally bother you about a movie like this. I have to say,
I just think I had the momentum of joy I was feeling up to that moment just washed over any kind of
right. There was the part when they go to the invisible, they can't see the house. That's kind of cool, and they're tripping over the house.
Incredible! That whole sequence where the guys are running and they're just hitting invisible shit, falling over.
So good,
very good. So
alien
awesome.
tech, great alien tech.
Yeah. Oh my god! I mean that everything up to arriving at the studio to me worked. Everything is like, this is my favorite movie of the year. Maybe this is like among my favorite Spielberg movies ever. And then we get to the thing. And, nobody really behaves the way they'd behave. And, we live in a world where information now is not valued. And, so.
Well, the idea that, hey, the way we're going to do disclosure is we have to get it to a TV station. It's like, really? Like, is this movie?
We all have live streaming devices in our pockets. Yeah, like you hit a button,
that's not even that's literally not even the most efficient way to do it. You know what I'm saying? Like,
and the fact that like all of these news people would just decide to give away their exclusives.
Oh yeah,
like let's share it. It's too important not to share.
It's too important for humanity.
Okay, I totally understand. All of that is unrealistic. Fanciful, Pollyanna. It is an idealistic view of what if people just all did the right thing at the same moment, all around the world,
right?
And that just wouldn't happen. But I appreciated the commitment to the bit, if you will, the idea of like our central idea of this movie, the reason that we called it Disclosure Day is because we're making a movie about what if it did do that? What if it did happen that way? What if there was one thing that actually would change hearts and minds instantly? And what if it was this? So like that supposition, again, is wildly unrealistic, but I kind of felt like it was the movie's biggest ask of me as the viewer. It's like everything has led up to this, and what we're asking you to do is to imagine what if there was something that could actually do this. And I kind of give the movie credit for that. Like it had the courage of its convictions to say, we've built this entire story around the concept of a disclosure day, of a piece of information that is so potent, so universe altering that it actually would conjure the best intentions of our human spirit. And is that a quaint notion? It is. Is that unrealistic? It is. But in this fictional world, we want you to buy it. And I was willing to go, okay, like, yes, it would be beautiful. It would be amazing. I would love there also to be a switch I could flip to just make people decent, So that's why I feel like it still scored a touchdown for me, is because the movie is just so thrilling up to that point. And then beyond that point, it's like, I would love that to be the way it worked. I would. So
Yeah,
I wanted it to be
it's a
true.
beautiful dream in some
It's
ways.
a beautiful
right.
dream.
It's a beautiful dream in some ways. Now, per what Devindra said, I think there's something that I find really troubling about that dream. Like I think that Coleman Domingo's speech about how like you think that killing everyone is better, but like these aliens think that empathy is the next highest form of evolution. I love that as a concept. Like that's cool, right? And it is also the world I want to see. However, like hearing Spielberg talk about it in this trailer for Disclosure Day, and then also seeing the movie, right? It seems clear that the idea is, hey, like again, wouldn't it be great if this
They'd just save
external
us.
force, if
They'd
this
just save
external
us.
force came
Yeah,
out of nowhere
yeah.
and like united us all in this big moment,
Yeah.
wouldn't that be great? And as you've already said, as we've already agreed on, like the practicalities of it make absolutely no sense in the film. But next to that, it's also, well, that's not happening right now, right? Like,
Yeah.
and to paraphrase Carl Sagan, right? Like, we are all we have, right? There's no one is coming to save us, and viewed in that lens, I just feel like this movie is hopelessly naive. Of like,
Yeah.
like we need to save ourselves. Like no external force is going to come and save us. Like I would love a movie that could give us some solutions for the actual issues that we face. Not like some external force comes in, like everyone unites and we're all good. And by the way, to the film's credit, it doesn't show us what happens after Disclosure Day. So, I do think the movie sets up that, hey, like there's going to be riots and people will be upset.
The
and,
sequel
like,
is Doubt Day.
no, but I mean, like,
it's fake news day.
The movie leaves open the possibility that like actually bad things can happen as a result of Disclosure Day, and so I do want to acknowledge that is
Do your
there.
own research day is coming up next.
Right, but I think
that
like
is not the
largely the
thrust of,
tone,
like-
largely the
yeah.
tone of the film is like hopeful about what Disclosure Day will bring.
Yes.
It's absolutely
Right, so,
hopeful. Like,
yeah.
but
Yeah.
like if this movie came out in the 90s, like this would be one of my favorite movies.
Absolutely,
Because this
100%
is like
agreed. 100% agreed.
this would like fit with my worldview as a kid, and
Right.
certainly as a teenager. I was
Yep.
a cynical teenager, but also like I had, I don't know, ideas like about things like this very similarly. And where I am now, I'm almost thinking like, what's interesting is that Spielberg genuinely believes there are aliens out there. He believes in the footage that's recently been released. Like this is not just like an idea for him. Like he really wants it to be true. And as a kid, I wanted that to be true too, because I think it's inevitable that the universe is so big that of course there would be other beings out there. But the way I'm looking at it now, it's like, man, what if they're just waiting for us to get our shit together? Right? What if it's like Star Trek and they're like, we can't give them the key to empathy. They have to find it for themselves, right? But once they do, then we can be like, hey guys, cool. We've been here. Great that you're no longer like out there committing world wars, or if you find a better system beyond capitalism or something. So that's kind of like it, I don't know. That's kind of like where I am now, and something that just left me a little disappointed about the movie. Something like Arrival treats the idea of the aliens coming as like definitely a global force too that's really impactful, but does something else with it beyond just telling the story of like,
I
they will
agree.
save us.
Listen, you're
It
not
is
going to
how
get
they
any
can kind of
argument
help
from
us.
me.
Yeah.
Arrival is one of my
Yeah.
favorite films of
Yeah.
all time. So Arrival is superior to this movie
Mhm.
on almost every level. So you're not going to get any argument from me there.
And
I
that's sort of
I
like
will say
aliens
Arrival.
helping us. Yeah,
Arrival is similarly earnest
it is
in its
Yeah, it is.
hopefulness about what aliens, what
Their
alien
intentions,
what alien impact on Earth could have, right? Like
Mhm.
if you remember the very end of that film and like what
Yep.
the aliens do that helps humanity, it's like it's very earnest. So
But it comes
I mean,
down to a few people trying to do the right thing rather than assuming a deluge of information is going to like change the minds of the entire world. And I live in the world of information, like, and I can tell you, it doesn't
Yeah,
work that way.
I think
unfortunately.
the biggest misstep of Disclosure Day is that the idea that a news organization is going to be the one that, but I also suspect that if Close Encounters of the Third Kind came out today and we'd never seen it before, it would land, people would complain about the ending of that movie. It's like, oh, that's
sure.
how the government would handle that moment. No way. It's these
Even
are,
Spielberg
I
doesn't like
think,
the ending of that movie because he wasn't a parent then, so he would have stayed. Or
yeah,
he would have had him stay. Yeah.
Right. So it's unfortunate. I totally recognize that the ending of this movie is clumsy and overly naive, as you say, Dave. I'm not gonna argue that that's not the case. It is the case. It just didn't ruin the movie for me, and it made I was having so much fun for 2 full hours, just having such a blast of this thriller, this supremely made thriller that ends in a kind of pat little way that it didn't mar the whole experience for me.
What I said at the beginning of the episode, I think I am being earnest with that. I want to believe, that this could be a thing,
Yeah, and by the way, I think there's also other like plot machinations in the movie that we haven't even gotten to about like did it need to choose 2 people? Why 2 people? What was Coleman Domingo's backstory exactly? There's a lot of like little things that the movie doesn't. I'm not saying these are plot holes or anything, but I just like the movie doesn't even really address.
I think the basic idea of like, hey, these people are aware of the harms that, like, first of all, this organization exists. It's not a government organization. This is a company that exists to hide information about aliens. That's deeply messed up. And also, we've been complicit in torturing these creatures.
Sure, no, I understand that.
Yeah,
I understand that, but it's like literally in the footage that they show on the newscast is like a massive alien spaceship.
Yeah,
and it's like. But the aliens have concluded that the best way to get the message out is we're going to abduct these 2 humans when they're kids, and then like let them be raised with the gifts that we've given them, such that one day when the time is right, we can then reveal our presence to the world. To which my reaction is, are there not other ways? Like fly a saucer into Times Square, and I think people are going to really realize very quickly that aliens exist. You don't need to go through KQED or whatever the hell.
They kind of realize we are very stupid.
Whatever the hell, whatever it is. I don't remember.
KQED is the station I watched when I was a kid in the Bay Area.
Yeah.
But you know what I'm saying? Like it's a very, very convoluted plot.
It's very convoluted, but
to get
also
to the point where it's like you want everyone to know about aliens. You have a fucking flying spaceship. We
are very stupid. Like the whole thing about this is like they're trying to make it easier on the silly humans who are not aware of extraterrestrial,
right.
Like they come to people as animals, so we're not afraid of them as aliens.
Right.
I find that
we have to ease them into this information, right?
You could intuit that the previous attempts didn't work out. Right? That all those moments before, Roswell, et cetera, are them trying it a different way.
Right. And they're like, clearly, by the way, these guys are not very good at flying spaceships. That's another thing that we learned too.
Maybe they were shot down. It was kind of a touchy time to be a weird object in the sky,
right.
in America.
Yeah.
I'd like to switch gears slightly and just talk about some of the wonderful moments in the movie. I mean, I think Wyatt Russell is great in this movie, and what a great character to include as this sort of at no point does he do anything unreasonable. Like if you were, if your girlfriend started behaving that way, you too would be like, all right, honey, let's just go to the hospital, please. And we're breaking out of the hospital now. That's bad. That seems like a very bad idea. And I love the scene where he can't quite run over the cell phone with the car.
Yeah, that was so what great. A random moment, but I did enjoy that. That was fun.
So great. Like the movie takes time for stuff like that, and I think it's
a fun script too. Like Eve Houston's like, no, Josh O'Connor's like, you're a nun, and she's like, we've had sex. Come on.
Yeah.
And he's like, you should probably take a guess there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anything else, Jeff?
I mean, I just. Fantastic tension-filled moments, great bits of comedy. Emily Blunt's, sort of bewildered. These powers are happening to me, but I don't really.
Right.
I don't know why I'm feeling like this, but now I kind of have to go with it. Like she sells that in a way that's not easy to do. All of her journey through to connect to that moment, and the fact that moment when she walks into the bad guy's lair, and he's like, we've been searching for this chick, and she just waltzed right in here. It's awesome. And Josh O'Connor looking at her, she's looking at him, and Colin Firth is like, you're her. Oh shit. Like it's I
It's
think
very
there's a
bad.
lot of really unexpected turns that the script takes
Mhm.
that are so fun. And that train sequence is baller.
I'd love to see it again in theaters,
Yeah.
honestly, because it's rare that we get a full, like, this is a full meal, even if like the aftertaste is a little off for me.
Yeah. Agreed.
Glad you guys liked it. By the way, I also liked it. I just
We all
feel
liked
the
it.
need.
We
I
have
feel
on
the
varying
need
degrees.
to sort of amplify some of my critiques of the film, just because I know Jeff is so positive on this. But I also ended up like overall liking the film. I just like.
Yeah.
I think it has a propulsive energy to it. I think the biggest critique I have of the film, the way I would summarize my entire critique, is which one of you said it feels like it starts in Act 3?
No,
I
right?
did, but yeah.
said that.
It feels like it starts in Act 3 and also ends before Act 3 is over. That is how I would describe it.
Only
Right?
Act 3. It's
Yeah,
oops, all
the
Act
entire
3s.
the entire movie is set within a
Yeah.
subset of Act 3. Is how
It's
I would
oops,
describe
all Act 3s.
it. Oh, yeah, like the oops all
That's
bearings.
okay, cool.
Right?
That helps
Yeah.
it stay propulsive, I think.
Yeah.
I did.
So,
Yeah.
I did wonder what was the process that had him at a professional wrestling match at the beginning? Like, was this a meeting that was he
Yeah,
trying
it
to
was
stay
It's a
out of
handoff.
sight and they just found him there?
They wanted the files and also the device.
Yes,
The-
but
the
is
ki-
he
the-
there
the
to
alien
hand it
device
off to them?
They can do
or is
whatever
he-
the plot requires.
Yes, they
And
kidnapped
go
Is he
ahead.
but
hiding
they-
and they find him there, or is
They kidnapped
he?
the girlfriend. They told him to go there to
Yeah,
hand off the
they
stuff.
kidnapped the
Oh,
girlfriend,
right,
so
right.
they
They
can
had the
do it.
girlfriend.
Yeah.
That's right.
But
that's
yeah,
right,
again, you gotta pay attention. I like that.
It's
pay
funny
attention.
though that they're like, well, let's meet at a public place. He's like, I got the.
I've got
perfect
these
spot.
tickets. Can't let them go to waste.
I agree with you. I agree with you. Like, I agree with you, Devindra. I'm like, why did they set that? Like, was there some thematic relevance about like, oh, maybe this is like people all gathering around in a
Yeah.
bad way, unlike the end when they're all gathering around in awe in a good way.
It's kind of. It's
Maybe.
just. I'm just stuck on that first shot. Why would you make your movie about the disclosure of aliens? The first shot is a POV of the camera getting stomped by a wrestler. What thematic?
Right.
What thematic meaning does that have? How does that like impact the movie? It's just kind of weird, I think.
Despite all that,
But
at the end of the day, it is incredibly impressive that Steven Spielberg made a movie.
May he never stop.
May he never stop.
Yeah.
100% agreed. 100%
Keep going.
agreed. Thank you so much for watching this video of the Filmcast. Check out these other videos that we have available, and be sure to hit like, subscribe, and hit that bell icon to get other videos from us in the future.
you can also go to thefilmcast.com to catch all of our audio podcast versions of all of our episodes.
And support this podcast at patreon.com/filmpodcast, where you can sign up for ad-free episodes and exclusive After Darks.
Thanks so much to everyone who makes the Filmcast possible.